Godspeed. I would like to thank you for joining us today as we celebrate our first global feature reveal for Throne and Liberty. On behalf of the teams at NCSoft and Amazon Games, I'm proud to announce Throne and Liberty's first new weapon, Spear. Today, with lead producer Sentry at NCSoft, Throne and Liberty, and Tico right here, we'll take an inside look at the development process behind Spear, showcase its awesome in-game visuals, talk about Spear mechanics and how it plays with our other weapons, and most importantly, reveal the date on which you can wield it on live servers for the first time.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen, let's get started.
So, Sentry, I've had some time to play with Spear, but why don't we start with you? What is Spear?
네, TL의 8번째 무기로 불속성을 다루는 근거리 무기입니다. 근접 무기이지만 긴 리치를 활용하거나
Oh my god, is there an English version? Dude, I have to read it to all of you? You're all welcome in advance for the audiobook I'm about to portray to you. God damn it. Alright. Although it's a melee weapon, you can gain combat advantages through its long reach and pocketing plays and throwing mechanics.
투척하는 포킹 플레이를 통해 유리한 전투를 가져갈 수 있습니다. 그리고 또 빠른
It enables combo-based combat with fast tempo skills and is initiating skills that allow you to leap into battle instantly, like Pantheon from League of Legends. Overall, it's a hybrid weapon that can fulfill both tank and DPS roles, what we call a bruiser fighter, okay?
파이터라고 부르기도 하죠. 이러한 역할을
Designed specifically for these roles.
디자인한 무기입니다.
Okay, I'm going to play it with
Okay,
wand.
so it sounds like there's going to be some nuance here about leaping into battle. Why don't you tell us more about that? You know, what's going to be important here in Throne and Liberty?
네, 기존의 4개의
The
원거리
existing
무기가
four ranged weapons have been performing relatively well in combat, utilizing distance advantages and positional elements. Relatively well is such a strong word for I'm gonna hit them with my bow skills. Therefore, we need a weapon that could change the tide of battle.
Okay, so it sounds like Spear is going to have a role interrupting enemy backlines, and I want to hear more about those combat mechanics, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Before we get into that, why don't you tell me a little bit about how Spear was, you know, what was the inspiration?
It's an odd way of saying flashwave, yeah.
The design of Spear.
창의 이미지는
The Spear's image started from concepts like warrior, berserker, and an assault captain. It has defensive characteristics, good mobility, and many utility skills. We designed it to have strategic value on the battlefield. You can look forward to Spear skills useful for dealing with multiple opponents, combat through distance control, and special Spear-specific skills.
Well, speaking of Spear's design and images, me and Tico, and also 10-3, was in Korea a few weeks ago, and we sat down with the art designer team and art director and talk more about Spear's design.
But you're not allowed to say what they told you, right?
Let's take a look.
Sorry, I'm still on the Perlivus thing.
창이라는 그
Oh, look at
무기는
that.
아주 크고
Transparency. The actual spear we can see in history is very big and large and heavy, so we thought if we rely strictly too much on realism, it was going to be boring and dull.
무기가 될 거라고 생각을 했습니다. 그래서 디자인이나 연출 최대한 지루하지
So our
않게
goal was not to make it boring, but to make the design and presentation. Okay, good.
처음에는 아주
At first, we referenced the worked and typical medieval spear styles. From that point, we tried to incorporate not only medieval spears, but also motifs from other weapons, such as swords and axes, of the era together. From that point, we
Okay, so it sounds like you were trying to
Wait, what? Oh, no, okay, all right, we're good.
incorporate several different weapons a little bit into the spear. So what was that process like, ideating and iterating onto that to get to where we are today?
네, 일단
Are we going to ignore those thigh highs? Keep it together, man. We're all able, the rest of us are keeping it together. We wanted to show diversity in the spear design, as there were some limitations just with the medieval European spear.
동양을 포함해서
So we widened our references to include Eastern and Asian styles, as well as different countries and cultural regions. We also looked at that a lot. We are also inspired by the TL bosses, their external material, unique environment design, and integrated all of that into our weapon design. This is what the other game studios and developers do a lot. But our TL art team is great at catching unique features of monsters and integrating them into the weapon design. And that's the kind of effort we made into Spear, or for the Spear.
What
Cool.
references did your team use to capture all the spear animation and overall feeling?
일단 뭐 창을
We looked at
사용하는
many games and
그런
videos
연출이
that had
잘
good spear
표현된
animation
여러
and
게임이나
representation.
영상물을 다양하게 참고를 했는데 솔직히 안 찾아본 게 없어요.
Honestly, we
그
explored
중에서
almost everything there,
우리한테
but what
어울리는
was
거를
difficult was to select the
선택하는
elements
거.
that
그
fit our
부분이
best
참
fit our
어려워요.
style. This skill looks really sick. You know, it's like Flash Wave, but worse. You know what I mean? It's like a one-lane highway instead of like the full interstate. You know what I'm saying?
었던 것 같습니다. 뭐 일단은 특정한 문화에 한정하지
We didn't limit
않았고요.
ourselves to a specific
가능한
culture, so
모든
we tried to
레퍼런스를
investigate
조사를 했던
every
것 같아요.
possible reference
특히
we could
그
get.
많은
We could.
영상과 이미지를 참고해서
Specifically, a lot of videos and
저희
images we referenced and
기획팀에서
brainstormed a lot.
요청에
Okay,
맞는
makes
그
sense.
TR만의 창 무게 모션
Pantheon Q, it's not Pantheon Q. Pantheon Q gets longer the longer you cast it. It's Pantheon Q.
을 만들기 위해서 참 많이 고심했습니다.
So yesterday, I had a chance to play the spear skills with Tico, and when spear skills hit the target, it feels so impactful.
Actually, I don't think Pantheon Spear gets longer when he casts it. I think it's just in a direction, so it's fine. Yeah, it's more like Pike. Yeah, more like Pike, but he said Pantheon because he's got a spear. Yeah.
So how did you make it so good?
네, 일단 뭐
Bro, that was such an awkward softball question. She was, how did you make it so good? It's like, good. Keep giving us those easy T-ball questions. It's like Jae-hee Kim at the Calpheon Ball. He's only going to answer like the brain dead questions about life skilling, right? That's fine though. It's okay. To enhance the sense of hitting impact, we tested a lot of pre-attack poses.
타격하기 바로 전 사전 동작을 여러 포즈로 테스트했습니다.
People are saying spears are really light. That's not the case. Spears are actually really heavy, especially the tip of the spear is typically really heavy in comparison to the rest of the body. It's kind of hard.
특히 찌르는 공격 같은
The thrust
경우에는
attacks, it was really difficult to bring them impactful and bring the feeling to life. So we thought the moment the character does the thrust attack, maybe the previous posture could be different than the starting posture. And make a contrast in the pauses. So for example, the thrust, it happens every 0.3 seconds. So until 0.2 seconds, we maintain a cool pause.
완전히 다른 포즈를 유지하고 마지막
Got a lot of
0.1초
mobility.
안에
In the last
빠르게
0.1
찌르는
seconds, we
방식으로 해서
swiftly
타격감을
transitioned
표현했습니다.
to amplify the impact.
타격감을 계속
But just enhance the impact, we
살리자고
couldn't
사실 그
compromise the
모션의
details of the
디테일을
motion.
포기할 수는 없어가지고요. 공격 이후에
So we added finishing
화려하게 창을
moves, like
돌린다든지
spinning the spear after an
멋진
attack,
피니시
ending with a
포즈를
striking
넣는다든지
finishing pose to elevate the
이런
overall
마무리
visual
동작을
quality.
해서 연출의 완성도를 높이려고 노력했습니다. 일단 창의
Due to the
특성상
nature of the spear, the slashing and thrusting attack is very limited.
한정적이기 때문에 그 다양한 포즈하고
So we had to spend a lot of time thinking how we could differentiate and diversify poses and motions.
뭐 예를 들어서 찌르기
For example,
포즈로
there are
끝나는
skills which
스킬만
end in a
저희
thrusting
그 게임
pose, and
안에서
hitting
세 가지가
timing is so
넘거든요.
short.
그리고 히트 타임도 너무 짧아가지고 표현을 할 때 포즈와
I love that pose, by the way, right?
히트 타임도 너무 짧아가지고
There, where you've got the spear above your head, that looks sick. I love that.
표현을 할 때
So we had to rely on the
포즈와
pose and the bending
블렌딩하는
motion to make it more distinct.
모션만을 구성해서 했어요. 그래서 최대한 겹치지
We had to
않는
find the distinct poses which were not overlapping and go through multiple revisions.
이 부분이 각각 다른 느낌의 어떤
Making unique thrusting motions in different ways, the process was no easy task.
과정이 쉽지 않았던 것 같습니다.
When we look at spear, you know, that's the 8th weapon. So what went into making spear feel unique compared to the other weapons?
일단 유저가
When
처음
users
접했을
first
때
see the spear, we
그때
wanted to
기존
leave a
무기들에
strong
비해서 더
impression.
큰 존재감을 주고 싶었어요.
Oh,
그래서
it's Musa. Okay. When-
뭐 손에 무기를 들었을 때
Well, then it's also ranged though, so it. Oh, interesting.
들었을 때
When they had the spear in their hand, we wanted them to make the spear look long and large, so we didn't have to do a lot of visual
Okay, so we
adjustment.
just talked
I say the same thing about penises.
a lot about art and visuals and how impactful things can be with spear, but
Had to be
what's
said.
something that maybe players won't notice right away?
네, 일단 유저분들이
Maybe
쉽게
one thing
놓칠
players
수
could
있을
easily
거라고
overlook is the
생각했던
intricate
거는
patterns
창에 숨어져 있는
hidden
세부적인
inside the spear and
문양이나
also the finishing
마감
touches.
처리라고 생각을 하는데요. 그 TL의 창은 단순하게 멋진 쉐입
A polearm is quite a heavy in comparison. Yes, it is. You are absolutely correct. A polearm is heavier than a spear. And I like the way they went with it to make the spear a little bit more light, because heavier than a polearm is a greatsword, right? And we see how heavy. Bro, the greatsword, he swings that thing around like it's cardboard. You know what I'm saying? So like, it don't matter. The spear in our game is not the only thing, or is not only about making cool shapes and
만
designs.
표현하는 것뿐 아니라 여러 나라의 문양
But it's also about incorporating various cultural motifs throughout the weapon. Usually, our players zoom the camera out when engaging in intense battles, so I don't point out the details here. They might go unnoticed. If I don't point out the details here, they might go unnoticed.
어려웠을 거라 생각을 했습니다.
In the world of Throne and Liberty, of course, is there any like NPC or lore character who wields and use spear?
앞으로
Yeah, there's an
유명해진
NPC who has huge potential to become famous, a female orc guardian, Aranka.
오크 종족의
Yeah, there's an NPC with a huge potential to become famous. Okay. We designed her as a strong and fierce personality.
디자인이 되었고요. 창 무기 출시와 함께
So with the introduction of the spear, I think people can look forward to meeting the
확인하실 수 있을 것
Guardian
같아요.
Aranka in-game.
Great insight. Let's hear more from Sentry himself.
Actually, yeah, when I was listening to the art director, I really liked what he was saying about how it was designed. But I want to hear from you a little bit more. How does Spear fit into the lore or the game world
Y'all
of
need
Throne and
Jesus.
Liberty?
무기 추가와 함께
Unlike other
새로운
games
직업이
where new
등장하는
weapons come with new
탑게임들과는
classes,
다르게
introducing a new weapon in
TL에서의
TL
무기
means current
추가는
players
현재
can
플레이
immediately
중이신
use this new
분들도 바로
equipment.
사용할 수 있는 장비가
Therefore, we
추가되는
want to integrate the new weapon
때문에
through a
창을
new
사용하는
story.
영웅의 이야기로
of a hero
여러분들에게
who
새로운
uses a
무기를
spear.
소개해보고자 합니다.
Oh, good. There's going to be a quest line to unlock it. Yay.
창 업데이트와 함께 추가될
Along with the spear
코덱스와
update,
더불어
there will be
창을
an
사용하는
additional
새로운
codex
수호자의
and a
이야기가
story about a
있습니다.
guardian who uses the
내러티브를
spear.
고려해서
Since this naturally
자연스럽게
fits into the
세계관이
world's narrative, we would recommend
등장하니까요.
checking it
확인해보시면 좋을
out.
듯합니다.
Well, maybe it won't be required.
I think getting to play with the new Guardian is going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to it for my character. So
Okay, so the new Guardian's going to require a quest line. Yay. But the spear is not.
with that, let's shift a little bit more into the gameplay now. So what can players initially expect when they get their hands on Spear?
우선 긴 리치로
It
적과의
features
거리를 조절하며
advantageous combat
이끌어가는
styles
유리한
that
전투 방식,
control
그리고
distance with
돌격이나
long reach
추격에
and
용이한
highly
기동성이
mobile
높은
skills suitable
스킬들을
for charging
가집니다.
or pursuit.
TL에서 접하지
It includes
못하셨던
extremely
굉장히
agile, fast-tempo
민첩하고
combo
빠른
skills
템포의
that our
연속적인
players
콤보
haven't
스킬들도
experienced in
가지고
TL
있습니다.
before.
또 방어와
Spear has
반격에도
attractive
매력적인
skills for
스킬들이
defense and
있고요.
counterattacks,
이를 통해
allowing players to
전략적
gain
공유를
a
점할 수
strategic
있습니다.
advantage.
또한 광역 공격
It also
스킬을
has AoE
가지며
attack
창을
skills can be
투척하는
used for
플레이로서
poking
활용도
plays through
가능합니다.
spear throwing,
전능 스킬의
and
경우에는
enables new
새로운
tactical
전술적
choices
선택이
through
가능한데요.
omnipotent skills.
종합해보면 기존의
In
전쟁과는
conclusion,
싸우는 전략,
these will have
방식이
different
달라질
strategies and ways
것입니다.
of fighting compared to
창
existing
업데이트
warfare.
이후
We hope you
재미있게
enjoy
연구해보시길
experimenting with the
바랍니다.
skills after the
Actually,
update.
when I had my hands on Spear earlier, it was so fun. I got to test out a lot of the
I
new
love
skills
putting my
and that
hands on
fast
Spear.
gameplay you mentioned.
My
This kind
Spear.
of ever building. The more you're comboing, the better that Spear's getting.
Yeah.
So with that in mind.
If I slouch down a little further, hold up, and then I just come down here, and then I bring it back up again. Okay. Now I just look like I have a really small head.
What do you think are some of the defining skills that Spear brings to the table?
네, 몇 가지
Let me
설명드려볼게요.
explain a few key points.
창만의 새로운
Spear has a unique
메커니즘인
mechanism
불씨라는
called
개념이
Ember.
있습니다. 특정 스킬을 사용하기
You think
위한
of it as a
자원이라고
resource
보시면 될
required
것
for
같아요.
certain skills. It also
그리고
uses a
창만의
spear
새로운
exclusive
제약인
debuff
알화를
called
사용합니다.
Weaken Ignition.
액티브 스킬 중에는
Among active
연속해서
skills, there's a
5회까지
special
사용
skill that
가능한
can be used up to
특별한 스킬이
5 times
존재하고요.
consecutively,
그리고
and
창을
another
휘둘러서
skill that
주변
pushes
적들을
surrounding opponents
밀쳐내는
away
스킬이
by
존재합니다.
swinging the spear.
전능 스킬로는
Spear
대상이
also
패링을 사용할
features
수 없게 하는
omnipotent
기술과
skills, one that
멀리
prevents
도약할 수
targets
있는
from
광역
parrying,
공포
and
스킬이
others
있습니다.
that allow targets
패시브로는 대표적으로 멀리 도약할
long
수 있는
distance
광역
leaping with an
공포 스킬이
AoE
있습니다.
fear effect. Ooh, an AoE fear.
패시브로는 대표적으로
In
양손
passives,
무기와
notably,
함께
there's an ability that
사용하는
becomes powerful with two-handed
했을 때
weapons.
강해지는 능력이 있고요. 기동 스킬
And
사용 시
another
상태
that
이상
increases
내성이
resistance
올라가는 것도
effects
있습니다.
when using
또
the
세약
spear.
스택과의 시너지가
In
있는
addition, there are
패시브
skills
등이
that
있습니다.
synergize with
So it
weakened
sounds like Spear is
effects.
going to bring some
Damn
pretty
it.
unique elements to its gameplay,
All right,
something that
fuck
we
it.
don't have in
Just-
other weapons.
All right.
And you were mentioning some of these
As you were.
charges and other things. How does that tie
Son of a
into
bitch!
Spear's weapon mastery?
돌진, 파괴, 대인이라는 세 가지 트리가 존재합니다.
There's three skill
돌진은
trees.
기동성을 올려주는
The charge
방어별
tree
트리이고요.
focuses on mobility,
파괴 트리는
defense, and destruction
DPS에
tree.
유리한
It's
극한의
optimal
딜링
for
트리.
DPS and extreme damage.
마지막으로 대인 트리는
The
PVP
PvP tree
전투에 유용한
consists of
요소들로
elements useful in
구성되어 있습니다.
PvP combat. Zoom out. There it is.
Before we move on, let's learn more about Spear. We were lucky enough to sit with lead combat designer at NCSoft, and let's hear what he has to say.
Oh, thank thank God, because I can't sit like this
또는
anymore.
그리고 부르저 역할을 자기가 선택해서 할 수가
The
있게 될
spear
겁니다. 예를 들어서 시시 또는 그리고
can
부르저
either
역할을
serve
자기가
as an
선택해서 할 수가 있게 될
assassin, nuker, or a
겁니다.
bruiser.
예를 들어서
For
CC
example,
저항 버프를
the
두르고
spear player can wrap their body in the CC resistance buff,
진입을 해서 예를 들어서 CC 저항
and
버프를
also by using the AoE CC ability.
광역 CC를 활용해서 저 후방에 진입을 해서
They can target
저
multiple
다수의
backline
대상들을
DPS opponents and then
역할을 할
disable
수가
them.
있을 텐데 그때 같은 길드원들과
The spear player guild members can dive in together and just wipe opponents out. Okay?
Okay, so earlier I had a fun time. I got to play with you and your team. You walked me through Spear, some of the skills and abilities it has, lots of unique things. Melee
I don't know if I should do it for her. I think it would be, well, honestly, let's just be honest. It's crazy. Okay. All right. As we go. All right, go ahead and keep talking.
range, lots of dashes, CC. So I'm just curious, what do you think is the core rotation or the core kit for Spear when you look at it?
The basic mechanism of Spear comes in 3 stages. You can stack debuffs when the steer goes to maximum. You can use your primary attack spells that will have special effects. Oh, thank God, bro, I can't. Okay, I'm on the debuff expires for the hit. It will make a detonation here. The detonation actually is rather different from other previous abilities. It's not applying to one target, but applying to the neighbors and enemy targets. So if you use it effectively, it can bring out very significant and effective impact. That's
Okay,
for
that's
large-scale
pretty interesting.
PvP,
We
guys.
cover the active skills and the passive skills, but as we all know, TL has skill specializations, which is one of the most probably impactful changes to combat that has come to the game. So
Thank
I'm
God.
curious, how does Spear tie with its skill specialization? You know,
Without skill specializations, the combat in Throne and Liberty would be unplayable.
is there anything particularly iconic or
honest.
impactful about some of the specializations that will be available to players for Spear?
특화를 통해서 몇몇 가지
See, the man's packing. Can you guys get your minds off of sex for like 2 minutes? Why are you looking at anything other than this poster? Idiots.
스킬들이 기본 스킬에
Through
있는
skill specialization, some of the skills will convert it to a fire elemental effect, and the fire element is applied basically to your basic critical hits, and then if you're,
최대 공통적으로 치명타가
And then if it hits your enemy.
중첩을 시키는데 이게 일정 최대
you can stack your ignition debuff, and when it stacks to the maximum, it automatically explodes, giving damage in an area. For example, throwing skills that deals damage, so it's kind of controlling the area from a distance. Okay, but if you go skill specialization and then it will evolve into a flaming spear, the flame effect will go into a chain. God damn it. And then inflict the AoE effect. Okay. Under specific conditions, you can do this multiple times, so stacking up really fast to explode, it really makes a thrilling combat.
이런 식으로 터뜨리게 할 수 있게 되는 거죠.
So I have a personal question for you. So would you play with Spear, and what would be the weapon combination of your choice?
Great sword. Or SNS.
앞서 건수님 말씀하셨던
Previously
것처럼
explained, we talked a lot about synergy with greatsword and two-handed weapons. Pre-watched.
더 챙기고 싶으면 장검. 그리고 좀 더
So for me, I'd pair it with a sword and shield if I want to survive longer, or with
So we
daggers for
talked
similar
about-
reasons. Yeah, so my problem with this, and this is like where the development kind of falls through on this class system that they've created here, is that like, what about players that want to play with like spear wand? Like, are they just going to play at a disadvantage, I guess? Like, what's the deal with that? You know what I mean?
The debuff from Spear, mastery levels. Let's talk more about PvE. So I'm wondering, like, how does it fit into, let's say, Abyss Dungeon?
광역 빌드도 좋지만
The AoE build is great, but when you succeed in weakening, and also every time you kill your enemy, it increases your attack speed. You can leverage this and then use it for speed farming. And also, in emergency situations, you can use the skill to restore your health, and then it can sustain your survivability. Bro, reading this at
So
this
it
speed
sounds
is
like
crazy.
it is super, like, strong in Abyss Dungeons. But what about in co-op dungeons? Is it still strong?
Yes, still strong. Yeah, of course. Unlike other weapons in TL, the spear has a party synergy effect, which increases heavy attack chance for the party. Oh my god, wait, that's actually insane.
그래서 엄청나게 파티원들에게
So it's giving a significant buff, boosting your party members. Also, if you use the explosion mechanism as a sudden DPS, can deal a huge amount of damage, so you look forward to this.
Wow, that sounds...
Okay, so adding heavy attack damage to that means that you have 5 bows, all casting Flash Wave with a spear that is there to buff them while they cast Flash Wave.
really cool. I might have to consider replacing
It also
my
appeals for them.
greatsword with spear now.
It's one of the things I've been thinking about too. Is am I going to play spear? Am I going to keep my weapon set? So I want to ask you, Sentry.
I don't know about the rest of you guys. The primary thing that keeps me from wanting to play spear, because it's very exciting and super cool, is the weapon mastery is going to take me 2 months to get back on top of. You know, like weapon mastery needs to be buffed like 10x what it currently is. I think it's really hard to reroll right now.
What are the weapons that you think are going to combo best with spear?
대표적으로 다른
Notable feature of the passive synergy becomes more powerful when used with other two-handed weapons. Therefore, it pairs well with greatswords, staves, and longbows. Wait. Particularly when combo with a greatsword, sharing the stun and the shock effects and utilizing multiple status effects, it can become a terrifying combination for opponents. I think that greatsword dagger users are now going to be greatsword spear users, because like they're going to get that same thing but like way better. Similar to the staff's burning spear's ignition debuff can be maximized when using lightning skills.
번개 스킬 사용 시 극대화되는 점도 참고해 보시면 좋을 듯 하고요. 또 생존의
Given its decent survival abilities, I'd also recommend builds using daggers. Spear dagger. Overall, you can create new combat styles when combining various charge attacks and knockback effects with your different weapons.
Okay, so now I'm thinking like if I should replace my greatsword with a spear. Like, you guys know that I play an off-meta build, which is Paladin, which is greatsword and wand and tomb. And
fair. I respect it. Yeah, I did not know that, but I respect the hell out of that. You know what I mean? Greatsword wand. Who the hell's playing greatsword wand? She the only one playing greatsword wand.
And I don't know, spear looking really good. What do you think, Tico?
Yeah, I mean, I play Invocator, and I did hear him say it pairs well with staff. So
there you go.
I was gonna say, isn't Invocator it's like staff dagger, right? Staff spear might go hard.
I am pretty excited about that. And when I was hands-on, you know, I could see the gameplay. So I'm probably pretty excited about trying to pair it with staff. I've been doing a lot of that staff wand play, so it's be exciting to go a little bit more DPS heavy now. So I'm going to give that a try as well. But what about you, Sentry? What do you think? You know, what are you most looking forward to with the release of Spear? What are you excited about?
이제는 28가지로 늘어난 다양한
weapon combinations now expanded to 28 varieties. I'm very curious about the various builds players will create.
무엇이 있을지 굉장히 궁금한데요.
I expect interesting gameplay, not just from equipment settings, but also from skill utilization. Interesting.
Okay, yeah, I agree. That does sound fun. I mean, I think TL is just so unique with how many different weapon combinations it has. So to see Spear introduced, I think it's going to open up so many possibilities, and it's going to take a while for, I think, the meta to really settle. And I think that's a really exciting part of introducing a new weapon to a game like Throne and Liberty. So we're running a little bit low on time.
That will be fun.
So is there any last thing that you want to say to our players before you go, Sentry?
신규 무기를 디자인하면서
Are they going to give us a new character slot? No, because that's not how weapons work in Throne and Liberty. What are you doing? No, because that's not how it works.
많은 노력을 했기에 개인적으로 굉장히 기대가 큽니다.
Okay, sorry. Having to put a lot of effort into designing this new weapon, I personally am very excited.
디자인하면서 저희가 많은 노력을 했기에 개인적으로 굉장히 기대가 큽니다.
I'm also excited to introduce spears simultaneously for both Korean and global players. Oh God, bro. Can we just take a moment and say that they're doing a global release for something and Korea's not just getting it first and then us like a month later for no reason? Jesus, bro. It's the little things, but really it's the big things. You know what I mean? Like, we're all getting this at the same time. That feels so good, guys. Like, oh God. I hope this update brings you enjoyment in TNL combat. Thank you.
재미를 느끼시게 되는 업데이트가 되길 바랍니다. 감사합니다.
Okay, well, that wraps up this feature reveal. Thanks for your time, Sentry and Tico. And I hope you all are as hyped as I am for the release of Spear. I'm happy to say that you won't have to wait too long as it officially releases globally and simultaneously across all regions and platforms as a part of our huge update.
Except for console. Fuck console.
On December 5th.
December 5th is crazy. So we're going to get to play this for 2 days before PoE comes out. That's going to be awesome.
In addition to Spear, the update will also introduce the new rune system, war games, dimensional trials, expanded lifestyle content, and a bunch of quality of life improvements. As always, your feedback is a driving force behind how we evolve Throne and Liberty. So let us know what your first impressions are about our newest weapon, Spear. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Absolutely huge, to be honest. Like, I think it's awesome they're releasing content as fast as they are for the game. There you go. I think that this last patch has been kind of a disaster for us, if we're being honest. The last patch has been kind of like a complete mess because it's been bug after bug after bug, right? Like the combat arc bosses aren't dropping any loot. The cross server rift and boonstones don't work, right? There's the orc like healing bug. Like it's been kind of a mess. So like hopefully we're good to go here. And a big shout out to the console players that are getting shit at the same time as the PC players. Big shout out to the NA players that are getting stuff at the same time as literally the Korean players is massive. A lot of bugs in PvP too. Yeah. So this patch has been a little bit of a disaster. I'm just going to be honest.